15 years ago, Sterling Rhodes found a dying Apache girl near the creek behind his ranch. Barely 12, Ayanna was battered, bleeding, and clinging to life. Against all frontier wisdom, Sterling nursed her back to health, risking his reputation in a land where distrust of Apaches ran deep. He never expected to see her again after she vanished into the night, healed but silent. Now, as he mended his fence under the morning sun, the sound of hooves, dozens, moving in precise formation, shattered the quiet of his valley. Sterling squinted, expecting neighboring ranchers or merchants. Instead, a war party of Apache warriors, painted for battle, rode toward his ranch in eerie silence. This was impossible. The Apache had been forced onto Oklahoma reservations a decade ago. His hand twitched toward his rifle, but something froze him. At the head of the riders was a woman, her face half hidden by war paint, her eyes locking onto his with unsettling familiarity. The party halted 50 yards from his fence, poised but still, all eyes on their leader. Apache war parties didn't pause, they struck. Yet this woman dismounted alone, hands empty in a gesture of peace. As she approached, Sterling's breath caught. Those eyes, he knew them. 15 years ago, they belonged to Ayanna, the girl he'd saved. Sterling, she said, her voice steady, carrying his name like a long-held promise. The world tilted. Her traditional Apache garb mixed with modern leather, a scar tracing from her temple to jaw, a scar he remembered tending. You remember, she said, her English flawless, devoid of the accent she once struggled with. Good. I wasn't sure you would. Sterling's throat tightened. Your people were relocated. All of them. Her smile was bitter. The soldiers lied. She gestured to the warriors behind her, their markings revealing a mix of tribes, Apache, Navajo, others. These men aren't from Oklahoma. They're united for one purpose. What purpose? Sterling asked, dreading the answer. Justice, Ayanna said, pulling a document from her pouch. Its letterhead read Whitman Trading Company, Legal Division. 3 days ago, Elias Whitman filed a claim against your ranch, alleging an $800 debt for cattle feed and supplies, supposedly borrowed 2 years ago. That's a lie, Sterling growled. I've never borrowed a cent from Whitman. I know, Ayanna said. I've spent 2 years investigating him. Yours is the 17th ranch he's targeted with forged debt papers. The other 16 families lost everything. Sterling's stomach churned. What happened to them? They lost their land, homes, livestock, she replied. Whitman's lawyer and a complicit judge ensured it. But he made a mistake targeting you, the man who saved my life. That's a debt I'll never let go unpaid. Her words settled heavily. Ayanna wasn't the broken child he'd saved, she radiated authority, a leader forged by time and purpose. How do you know all this? He asked. After you saved me, I didn't vanish, she said. I went east, studied law and business in St. Louis and Chicago. I learned how men like Whitman exploit legal systems. She gestured to her warriors. These men follow me because I've given them purpose, justice, not vengeance. Sterling marveled at her transformation. The girl who once whispered fevered instructions for medicinal plants now spoke of legal strategy with unshakable confidence. What's your plan? Tomorrow, Whitman arrives with Sheriff Morrison and a court order to seize your ranch, Ayanna said. They expect you alone, defenseless, unable to disprove the debt. She whistled, and a warrior brought a satchel. From it, she produced a folder thick with documents, depositions from cheated families, original loan agreements, bank records exposing forgeries, and testimony from Whitman's disgruntled clerk. This is enough to destroy him, she said. But we let him make his move first, expose himself fully. And if the sheriff sides with him? Sterling asked. Ayanna's eyes turned cold. Then we deliver a different justice, one that doesn't need courts. The implication hung heavy. This wasn't just a legal fight, Ayanna was prepared for war. There's more, she added. Whitman knows you helped me 15 years ago. He's planned this as revenge. Sterling's blood ran cold. How could he know? Dr. Harrison, Ayanna said. The physician you trusted to treat me. Before he died, he confessed to his son, who inherited his debts to Whitman and sold the information. Sterling felt betrayed. Dr. Marcus Harrison had sworn secrecy. His son, young Dr. Harrison, had turned that trust into a weapon. Harrison's father kept detailed records of my treatment, Ayanna continued, producing a medical journal. They prove I was a dying child, not a warrior. Whitman plans to paint you as an Indian sympathizer who harbored a fugitive, justifying your ruin. The plan was diabolical. Whitman wasn't just after his land, he wanted Sterling destroyed, publicly branded a traitor. Tomorrow, Ayanna said, we'll use Harrison's own tools against him. She revealed a medical bag filled with natural remedies, including a wild potato root extract that caused temporary, convincing illness, nausea, cramping, sweating. We'll offer them coffee, laced just enough to unsettle Whitman. Harrison's reaction will reveal his priorities. Sterling nodded. And the sheriff? Morrison's honest but misled, Ayanna said. He'll witness Harrison's failure to treat Whitman properly, then see the evidence. Whitman's own clerk provided this. She showed a journal detailing every forgery, bribe, and cheated family. The clerk's parents were victims too. He's safe with my people now. There's one last thing, Ayanna said gravely. Whitman plans to burn your ranch house after the seizure, with you inside, if necessary. He spread lies that you're plotting an Apache attack, framing this as preventive justice. Sterling's fury surged. Then we make sure this works. At dawn, Ayanna and her warriors hid in the hills, while she stayed in the barn with the evidence. 3 riders approached, Sheriff Morrison, Dr. Harrison, and Whitman, smug in his tailored suit. Morning, Sterling, Morrison said, regret in his voice. We've got business to discuss. Coffee first. Sterling offered, carrying a tray with 4 cups, one, marked by a chipped handle, laced with Ayanna's extract. He handed it to Whitman. Whitman sipped, smirking. Let's get to it, Sheriff. Sterling owes me $800, documented here. He produced papers, pristine and official-looking. Lies, Sterling said. I pay cash for everything. Convenient, Whitman sneered. Forged receipts, no doubt. Morrison frowned. Sterling's word is good, Elias. Is it? Whitman countered. He harbored an Apache warrior 15 years ago. Dr. Harrison's father documented it. A child, Sterling said. Near death. Suddenly, Whitman doubled over, sweating, clutching his stomach. Something's wrong, he gasped. Dr. Harrison moved toward him but hesitated, glancing at Morrison instead of examining his patient. Describe your symptoms, he mumbled, fumbling with his stethoscope. Cramping, nausea, Whitman groaned. Like poisoning. Morrison's eyes narrowed. Doctor, shouldn't you be checking him properly? Before Harrison could respond, Ayanna emerged from the barn, holding the medical journal and clerk's evidence. Sheriff, I have proof Whitman and Harrison are defrauding Sterling. Morrison tensed but didn't draw his weapon. Who are you? Ayanna, the child Sterling saved. She opened the medical journal. These records prove I was a dying 12-year-old, not a warrior. Whitman's claim hinges on lies. Whitman, still in pain, snarled, arrest her. She's a fugitive. Ayanna handed Morrison the clerk's journal. This details Whitman's forgeries, bribes, and the 16 families he ruined. Page 43 outlines how Harrison declared victims mentally unfit to support the seizures. Morrison read, his face darkening. This is damning. As Whitman protested, horses approached, not warriors, but the 16 cheated families, summoned by Ayanna. They carried their own evidence, mismatched signatures, cash receipts, witness testimonies. She helped us organize, one said, pointing to Ayanna. She gave us hope. Dr. Harrison stammered, I had no idea about fraud. Then why aren't you treating your patient? Ayanna pressed. Those symptoms suggest poisoning. A real doctor would investigate. Morrison's suspicion grew. Elias, you're under arrest for fraud, forgery, and conspiracy. Harrison, you're an accessory. As he cuffed them, families closed in, their evidence overwhelming. 3 months later, Sterling's ranch was secure. Whitman and Harrison were imprisoned, Judge Caldwell disgraced, and the family's lands restored. Ayanna visited weekly, their bond now a true friendship. Over coffee, she shared news of a territorial liaison offer. It could amplify my work, she said, but I'd miss the open land. You don't have to choose, Sterling said. Partner with me. Expand the ranch, blend traditional and modern ways. Ayanna smiled, extending her hand. Partners. Their handshake sealed a new beginning, born from a debt of honor that had rippled across 15 years, transforming a forgotten act of kindness into a shared future.